My sister announced that Thanksgiving, Mom and Dad are sending the house to me. You get nothing. Everyone cheered. I smiled and said, Dad, should I tell them or will you? His fork dropped. My sister screamed, tell us what? 6 months earlier, my parents called me home for something important. Dad had a folder laid out. We are refinancing the house, he said, just a simple signature. Something in me tense. I took the folder to my lawyer. She called me the next morning. This isn't a refinance. It's a transfer of liability. If you sign, you're responsible for their debt. Debt, a second mortgage, months of missed payments, foreclosure letters. They were drowning and looking for someone to drag under with them. 2 months later, Dad called asking for money. He said it was for Mom's medical bills. When I offered to pay the hospital directly, he crumbled. The truth spilled out. Late payments, deadlines, desperation. They weren't giving Jenna the house. They were giving him the debt. And they expected me to sit quietly while it happened. A week before Thanksgiving, Mom called gushing about how excited Jenna was to host more often once things were settled with the house. That night I pulled property records, foreclosure notices, and overdue statements. I filled a folder with everything they'd been hiding. On Thanksgiving, Jenna stood to make her announcement. Her voice carried across the whole table. Mom and Dad are signing the house to me. Emily gets nothing. The room erupted, cheers, whistles. Someone yelled about time. My mother dabbed her eyes like she was witnessing an engagement. I didn't touch my glass. I just smiled the way you smile when you already know the ending. Then I asked Dad, should I tell them or will you? The room dropped into silence so heavy I could hear the radiator tick. Dad's fork hit the plate with the metallic clatter. Jenna's face pinched. Tell us what? I opened the folder. They're behind on 2 mortgages, months from foreclosure, maybe weeks. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad reddened. That's not true, Jenna said, voice raising. They would have told me. Did they tell you the house comes with over $100,000 in debt? That you're responsible for every overdue payment and penalty? Something cracked in her expression. Doubt crept in. Are you handling it? I held up a bank notice because this says otherwise. My aunt spoke first. Daniel, is this true? Dad didn't answer. Mom buried her face in her napkin. It was never a gift, I said. It was an escape route. They tried to trick me first. When that didn't work, they chose you. Jenna's fiance, Brody, leaned away from her. Is she lying? My parents said nothing. That was enough. Brody stood. You told me the house was paid off. You said we'd have a clean start. Brody, please. He shook his head. I'm not marrying into this. The room gasped as he walked out past the tricky, past my stun parents without looking back. Jenna's legs gave out. She dropped into her chair, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I didn't know. I know, I said quietly. Dad slammed his palm on the table. You ruined everything. I stared at him. No, you ruined everything when you tried to hand your debt to your children like it was an inheritance. Then someone knocked hard. A woman in a plain suit stepped inside. A badge clipped to her belt. Mr. and Mrs. Nolan, I need to speak with you regarding your mortgage records. Mom nearly collapsed. Dad went white. We received a report of potential financial misconduct. I have questions. The room went silent. Not one person cheered now. Mom sobbed. Emily, tell her you misunderstood, please. I didn't answer because the truth was only beginning to unravel. When the investigator left with the documents, the house fell into heavy quiet. I picked up my coat. Jenna whispered, don't go. I'll still be here, I said. Just not for their lives anymore. The house went up for sale. My parents moved into a small apartment across the city, quieter than they'd ever been. Jenna started therapy. She called me often, sometimes to cry, sometimes just to sit in silence on the phone. She told me she finally understood why I stopped letting our parents speak for me. Telling the truth isn't betrayal.